Sea creatures have long haunted our darkest fears. After all, nobody truly knows what's lurking in the ocean's depths. And some of the monsters from ancient legends, they were actually real. And the terrifying part? Some of them might still be down there waiting. The first creature on our list is the Kraken. Sailors in the 1700s didn't just fear storms or starvation. They feared something worse. Something that could rise from the depths, wrap tentacles around an entire ship, and drag it straight to the bottom before anyone could scream. They called it the Kraken, and they marked it on their maps with 3 words that still send chills down spines. Here be monsters. The Kraken wasn't just folklore invented around campfires. Norse fishermen swore by it. If the water started foaming for no reason, you didn't investigate. You ran. Because if you actually saw the creature, you were already dead. They described it as an island that moved, eyes the size of windows, tentacles thick as ship masts that could crush wood like paper. For centuries, nobody could prove it didn't exist. Then in 1853, something massive washed up on a beach in Denmark. A giant squid. The first time humans got a close look at what might have inspired the legend. The ocean covers 80% of Earth, and we've explored less than 5% of it. So maybe the Kraken wasn't waiting in legends, maybe it was just waiting in the deep. Next on our list is Leviathan. The Bible mentions a sea monster so powerful, nothing could control it. But here's what makes this legend different. People across the world who never met each other describe nearly identical beasts. Ancient Greeks spoke of serpents with impossibly long necks. Sailors in Asia and the Pacific reported massive shadows slipping beneath dark waves. Different cultures, different oceans, same nightmare. About 50 million years ago, something called Paleophis ruled coastal waters. A sea serpent over 30 feet long, roughly the size of 4 cars placed end to end. Ancient people could have found its bones washed ashore. They could have even encountered living specimens before extinction. Scientists say it's gone now, but 95% of the ocean remains unexplored, and some believe distant relatives might still survive in the deepest trenches. But Leviathan might not have been a serpent at all. Some descriptions suggest something even more terrifying. There was a prehistoric whale called Leviathan. It had teeth longer than your forearm and hunted other whales for food. Some researchers think it even battled Megalodon and won. Scientists named it after the legendary Leviathan for good reason. This wasn't myth. This was a real apex predator that turned the ocean into a war zone. The next creature is one of the most mysterious, the Bloop. In 1997, underwater sensors picked up a sound so powerful it was detected over 3,000 miles apart. Scientists had never heard anything like it. It didn't match any known marine animal. It didn't resemble any man-made sound. They called it the Bloop, and nobody could explain what produced it. Here's what made it terrifying. The coordinates where the sound originated were close to the fictional location of R'lyeh, the underwater city of Cthulhu in Lovecraft's stories. The sound profile suggested something biological, something far larger than any known creature. Official science eventually concluded it was an ice quake, a massive glacier breaking apart underwater. But cryptozoologists disagreed. They pointed out that the acoustic signature didn't perfectly match known ice events. They believed it could have been a creature too enormous to imagine hiding in trenches we've never explored. Whether the Bloop came from a living being remains unsolved. But the way this single sound ignited imaginations worldwide proves one thing. The ocean holds more mysteries than we've dared to confront. Moby-Dick. If you've seen our previous video, you already know these animals aren't peaceful giants. On November 20th, 1820, the American whaling ship Essex was sailing the Pacific when a massive sperm whale rammed it with calculated force. Not accidentally, deliberately. The whale struck twice with precision, shattering the hull and sinking the vessel. 20 crew members were left adrift. Weeks turned into months. Only 5 made it back alive after 89 days at sea, and they only survived by resorting to cannibalism. Herman Melville heard these stories and decades later wrote Moby-Dick. But his white whale wasn't pure fiction. Sailors in the 19th century told tales of an enormous albino sperm whale that stalked the Pacific. A creature that didn't just defend itself, it hunted ships. It attacked with terrifying intelligence, overturning vessels or dragging them beneath the waves. This beast earned a reputation as the most feared animal in the ocean. Whales weren't helpless victims. They fought back. And the legend of the white whale combined real encounters into a single mythic creature that still haunts our imagination. Umibozu. The sea goes completely still. No wind, no waves, nothing. It feels peaceful. But Japanese sailors know better. That silence means danger. Because that's exactly when Umibozu appears. A towering figure rising from the water. Faceless, massive, silent. Umibozu means sea monk in Japanese. Fishermen believed that if the ocean suddenly went calm and fog rolled in, Umibozu was near. Some described it as tall as a ship's mast. Others said it was the size of a mountain. Legend says if a sailor speaks to Umibozu, it quietly asks for a bucket. Hand it a normal bucket, and it begins filling your ship with water calmly, steadily, until you drown. The only way to survive is giving it a bottomless bucket, confusing it long enough to escape. Descriptions vary wildly. Sometimes it's a massive form rising from the depths. Sometimes it has long, snake-like arms reaching from the mist. But every version shares one detail. Its presence means silence. And that silence is a warning. Old Scandinavian and German folklore speaks of creatures called Nixies, water spirits that look almost human. Sometimes beautiful women with pale skin and long hair, other times old hags with green flesh seaweed hair and moss-covered bodies. Some have fish tails, others appear fully human until you notice one detail. Their clothes are always dripping wet, even on dry land. The Nixie legend goes back further than most sea myths. These creatures were believed to guard rivers and lakes. Some tales say they used beauty and song to lure sailors into danger. Others claim they demanded human sacrifice to keep waters calm. But not all stories end in tragedy. Some speak of Nixies falling in love with humans. For hundreds of years, fishermen across northern Europe reported seeing beautiful women near water, figures that would call out in strange voices, then vanish. Whole villages believed they were real. People left offerings to avoid angering them. Even today, reports surface of mysterious figures near water, shapes that look human but disappear too quickly to identify. No solid proof exists. But the same descriptions keep appearing across time and countries. That's why some believe the Nixie was based on something real. Next one is Jörmungandr. Norse mythology speaks of a serpent so massive it wraps around the entire world and bites its own tail. The world serpent, son of Loki. And he doesn't just sleep beneath the waves, he waits, because when he rises, Ragnarok begins, the end of everything. According to legend, Jörmungandr will face Thor on the final day. Thor will kill the serpent, but only walk 9 steps before collapsing dead from its poison. This isn't just a monster story, it's a prophecy of mutual destruction. The idea that some threats are so massive even gods can't survive them. But this myth didn't appear from nowhere. Norwegians have told stories of sea serpents for over 1,000 years. Even in the 1800s, Icelanders swore they saw serpents as long as entire villages. These weren't dismissed as fantasy. They were recorded as genuine sightings. Today, Jörmungandr represents something deeper. The fear of something so large it surrounds us without us realizing. A force that can't be stopped, only survived until it decides to strike. You've definitely heard of the next one, the Megalodon. A shark 60 feet long, jaws that could crush cars, teeth the size of human hands. The Megalodon wasn't a myth, it was real, and it ruled the oceans for over 20 million years. This apex predator hunted whales, dolphins, and other sharks. Nothing could rival it. Fossilized teeth and vertebrae have been found across the globe. Europe, Australia, the United States, Peru. Some teeth are so well preserved, they look almost recent, which is why some people wonder, what if it's still out there? The name Megalodon means giant tooth. A single tooth could reach 7 inches in length. Scientists say Megalodon went extinct roughly 3.6 million years ago, but the deep ocean remains largely unexplored. Trenches stretch miles down into total darkness. And if something that large wanted to hide it, could. That's what makes Megalodon different from other legends. It's not a question of whether it existed. It absolutely did. The question is whether anything like it still survives in the abyss. Among all the unbelievable creatures in this video, none stands out more than the Titanoboa. A snake the length of 2 buses. A predator so massive it could swallow a crocodile whole. Titanoboa lived around 60 million years ago, just after the dinosaurs went extinct. It grew up to 50 feet long and weighed over a ton. And in the tropical swamps of what's now Colombia, Titanoboa ruled everything. It hunted large fish turtles and possibly young crocodiles. It didn't bite to kill, it crushed, with enough force to snap spines like twigs. Titanoboa wasn't discovered until 2009, when massive vertebrae were found in a coal mine. Some were as big as human heads. Today, you can see its reconstructed skeleton at the Smithsonian. But here's the unsettling part. The Amazon rainforest still holds unexplored regions. Dense jungle and remote rivers where few humans venture. Some believe Titanoboa or a close relative could have survived in isolation. There's no proof. But there's also no proof it didn't. And that possibility keeps the legend alive. One of the most jaw-dropping creatures in this video is Gran Maja. Out of every mythical sea creature, one has recently exploded online and become the most terrifying legend of the digital age. Witnesses claim it lives deep in the Arctic Ocean, so deep sunlight has never touched it. According to descriptions, Gran Maja is over 2,000 feet long, roughly the size of 6 football fields placed end to end. Its mouth is packed with hundreds of razor-sharp teeth wide enough to swallow whales whole. 6 small glowing white eyes line the sides of its massive head, and it moves through the abyss in total silence. The legend started when mysterious underwater sounds were recorded in the Arctic. Scientists said it was ice breaking, but others heard something alive, something calling from depths humans have never reached. The most famous story involves a deep-sea expedition that lowered a camera into the Arctic Trench. As the feed continued, something enormous passed by. Not clearly visible, but large enough to block out all light for several seconds. The footage reportedly never went public. Crew members left the mission, and some allegedly never returned to sea. Does Gran Maja really exist? There's no scientific evidence. But our fear of strange sounds, massive shadows, and endless darkness makes this creature feel real. The Arctic Ocean remains one of the least explored places on Earth. Until we map every trench and probe every depth, Gran Maja will remain a terrifying possibility. Maybe just a myth. Or maybe the greatest secret hiding beneath the ice. These creatures remind us of something we often forget. The ocean is vast, dark, and mostly unexplored. Some legends were based on real animals we've now discovered. Others remain unexplained. The question isn't whether monsters exist. The question is what we'll find when we finally look deep enough.